Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in Jew. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. A very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can keep this and any other conversation I ignite going over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad, where I've been there a lot for the past few hours. By the way, I get up very early, so if you're up early over here in Europe, you should check me out. Don't forget my Vero at Big Mouth 1, and the extension to this channel is my Instagram, Big Mouth. So welcome to Thursday's edition of the dceu Daily. Yes, I can't believe it. It's Thursday already. And really, nothing really happened within the Snyder Cut or any other news within the dceu, but some shit did hit the fans, and this is the only thing we're going to discuss today. Joker. So what happened? Well, I did a couple of videos on it as well yesterday. So the big news broke from the Hollywood Reporter that Todd Phillips is in talks not only to develop, write and direct a Joker movie sequel, but to develop more DC original black label villain stories or even hero stories. He could choose absolutely anyone. So that was the Hollywood Reporter. So we were all kind of walking on a cloud, really excited. This is what we all want, right? We all love the Joker movie, $1 billion. Someone must have seen it. So yes, awesome piece of news. We're all very excited. Us YouTubers and everyone else who lives off this stuff was going on and on about it. Then Deadline decided to say, well, what did they say? Update. Deadline is countering Hollywood Reporter's claim that Todd Phillips is in talks to direct Joker 2 and that he's developing more origin stories for WB, saying that no such developments have happened at all. Looks like we will be waiting confirmation. So what's happened here? Basically, Deadline accused the Hollywood Reporter, not by name, but they're the ones who broke the story, of clickbait stories and not to believe that this is actually happening. So this is why I can't abide Access Media, and I was very cross about this, very angry, because I hate the public being misinformed. But here's the thing, the Hollywood Reporter, right? The Hollywood Reporter is a very highly respected, 30, 40-year-old it used to be a magazine, then it got itself on the internet when the internet was created. They've been doing stuff for years. Now, I don't agree with everything they say and do, but they are not clickbait and they are not liars, right? They broke the news that Henry Cavill wouldn't be playing Superman. Well, he hasn't, but it doesn't mean that that's the full story. But they said that Warner Bros. Will be giving Superman a break, and that was, 2 years ago now, right? And guess what? They did give Superman a break, right? And they've broken lots of news, and it's all factual. And the Hollywood Reporter has got an inside line into Warner Brothers. They know exactly what's going on. So what's happened here? Why is every single member of the Access Media saying that this is not true and this is not happening? But the Hollywood Reporter, and I'm going to read an article. This is a fun article, actually. What would a Joker-style Lex Luthor movie look like? So we're going to do that. They posted this 2 hours ago. They are not saying we were wrong. They are not trying to change the narrative. They're still saying that this is going to happen. So this is interesting. So what's happened here? Why have all the other members of Access Media saying it's not true, and they're still doubling down on it, should I say? The truth of the matter is, it looks like to me, these are the facts. Todd Phillips, right now, at this second, isn't in talks or developing a Joker movie sequel or even more kind of Joker movie style DC character movies. At this very second, he hasn't signed any agreement and he's not actively doing it. But the plan is that he will be doing it. So what Hollywood Reporter are saying is pretty much right. This is in the works. This is going to happen. Get excited. It is happening. What the others are saying, because they're so I suppose they've decided to kind of all gang up on the Hollywood Reporter, say, but it's not happening this second. Don't believe them, everyone. They're just a bunch of liars. This is literally Access Media going, like that, fighting with each other. It's so embarrassing. It really, really is. So what I'm saying to you, my subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed and you're watching this, please subscribe, because this is the place to be if you're a nerd or a geek. But basically, right, what I'm saying to you, and this is the damn honest truth, that the Hollywood Reporter are correct. The Hollywood Reporter are not lying. They may have got a bit excited and broke the news too soon, but this is happening. A Joker movie sequel written and directed by Todd Phillips. Todd Phillips will work with another writer-director probably to develop more kind of Jokery, DC villain, DC kind of character, DC Black Label kind of movies. It's all going to happen. But yes, at this very second, Todd Phillips is not doing that. He will be in the process very soon of signing a deal and kind of starting to develop these projects. That's what's happening. So all the others are trying to say, but they're not saying that. They're saying it's not true, it's not happening. But if you read the small print, what they're actually saying is it's not happening this second. Now, for all those people quote tweeting this, these not happening kind of tweets, I'm so glad. The last thing the Joker needs is a sequel. Are you freaking kidding me? The last part of the film was him literally trying to escape the asylum. There's more to tell. There's more to tell on the dynamic between Arthur Fleck and Bruce Wayne. We could get a Batman in this as well. We could get other villains in this bloody movie as well. Come off it. There's not a story to tell for a sequel. I'm sorry, but I'm a fan of film. I'm a fan of good film. The Joker movie is a great film. They've set up a great universe, and I want to see more of it. And I don't understand this attitude. Well, we've had one film. Let's just leave it alone. It is true. Todd Phillips may not do a very good sequel. Who knows? I don't think that's the case, because I think Todd is a genius, and everything he touches is amazing, whether it's been a big hit or not. He's a very talented man, and he's always entertained me. It's going to be great, no question. Of course, people, whatever happens with a sequel, people will say, well, it's not as good as the first one. We know they're going to do that. That's been happening since time began. That's happened since sequels started. Oh, Superman 2 isn't as good as Superman the movie. Or, I suppose, Empire Strikes Back. What people do think that's better than A New Hope. I don't, by the way. I think A New Hope is the best Star Wars film ever made. It's like I think Batman Begins is one of the best Batman films ever made. And certainly, I prefer it to The Dark Knight. But that's an unfashionable opinion. But I am all for the Joker getting a sequel and Todd Phillips developing more kind of character study movies for other DC villains within this new Black Label universe. So yes, it's happening. Be excited. Ignore the other sites. If you're on Twitter and you follow them all, you're probably best off muting them for now. Although you probably better not, because they're probably going to post other news later on. But basically, this is how stupid they are, right? They get into a little slanging match with each other, and what they do, they use us, the public, to do it. So now all the public are kind of confused, because they know the Hollywood Reporter are a reputable outlet, but then all the others, and you think, why is everyone saying they're wrong? Well, because they're kind of being pedantic. They're saying, not this second, it's not happening right now. It's pathetic. The other members of Access Media know this is going to happen, but because Todd Phillips hasn't signed the deal yet, right, and no one at Warner Bros. Has tipped them the wink, and because right now he's not sitting there developing a sequel, more DC Black Label characters, they can come out and try and say, what the Hollywood Reporter were doing was clickbait. The Hollywood Reporter pretty much posted a developing story, which means very soon this is all going to be happening, and we'll have more on it when we've got more information. They can't tell us any more. But, I mean, everything is clickbait. This is clickbait. Everything we do is clickbait. We want attention. We want people to read our pieces. We want people to watch our videos. For Christ's sake. People say to me sometimes, your videos are clickbait. Yes, I want people to watch them. But let's be honest, most of the time, my titles are exactly what I talk about, and I talk about a hell of a lot more. There's a lot of meat on my bone when I do videos, but everyone kind of, it's clickbait. What do you expect people to do? Post articles and videos without titles? People make me laugh, they really do. But to draw a line out of this part of the video, A Joker movie sequel is happening, and more Joker movie type movies with DC characters for the Black Label will also be developed by Todd Phillips. But no, he hasn't signed an agreement yet, and he hasn't started developing these things yet, but he will. Are we all kind of on the same page now? Are we all excited? Do we get it? Ignore Access Media when they do this. As I say, as Lois said, they're just measuring. Anyway, right, Hollywood Reporter, as I say, doubling down on all this. This is what's so funny. So 2 hours ago, they posted, Todd Phillips, director of Joker, is said to be eyeing another DC origin movie. So why not look to the company's second most popular villain, Lex Luthor? Should we read this? This looks really interesting. What would a Joker-style Lex Luthor movie look like? Look, I'd be pumped for this. I think this is, if you're talking about putting butts on seats and getting attention, a Lex Luthor character study movie would be awesome. I still think the best Lex Luthor character study is what we already got on Smallville, but they could do a very different thing on this, and it would be very, very exciting. Filmmaker Todd Phillips is said to be eyeing another DC origin movie, so why not look to the company's second most popular villain? Todd Phillips is in talks to direct a sequel to Joker. You see, they're doubling down on it. You see, they're not having it. This is what I'm saying. When the Hollywood Reporter is so robust about something, it is true. I don't know why the others have taken this stance, but it's pathetic. And all it does is confuse your consumers and your public. And it's just not right. Todd Phillips is in talks to direct a sequel to Joker and may have his eyes on more DC villains as well. The Hollywood Reporter broke the news Wednesday that Phillips asked Warner Brothers for the rights to develop DC character origin stories and walked away with one more character, though there's no word on whose origin it may be. One villain stands out as a natural option, Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor would be a good idea as well because he's in a state of flux within the DCEU. That obviously Jesse Eisenberg was cast. It looks like they're not going to use him anymore. So they don't seem to be trying to introduce a new Lex Luthor into the DCEU at the moment. So really, because they haven't particularly got a version everyone's embraced, I think a Lex Luthor character study Black Label movie would be perfect. Back when Phillips first pitched the idea of a Joker film to Warner, he also suggested that these picks fall under a new label called DC Black. The division would exist separately from the mainline DC movie universe and would give directors and actors who would normally not participate in big-budget superhero movies a chance to work on smaller character studies with these iconic characters. The studio balked, but the Joker ended up surpassing expectations and last week became the first R-rated movie to pass $1 billion. Audiences have already embraced Joker. Would they embrace a film in that style about Lex Luthor or another villain? Yes, of course we would. What a dumb question. Lex Luthor is arguably the second most iconic villain DC has on its roster. Since being introduced in Pages of Action Comics number 23 in 1940, the villain has had numerous cinematic appearances between Gene Hackman's portrayal in the Christopher Reeve Superman films, Kevin Spacey's outing in Superman Returns, and Jesse Eisenberg's modernized take in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. The character is a household name and can carry his own film apart from the Man of Steel. Phillips had a specific strategy for Joker. He paired an A-list actor with a strong script. He drew upon the films of Martin Scorsese rather than relying heavily on comics. Character overtook story, performances outplay spectacle. A Lex Luthor film could use the same formula for success. Fans in the past have called on Bryan Cranston or Mark Strong to play the part. Both would be solid choices, but Joker worked because Joaquin Phoenix felt out of the box. Personally speaking, someone in the realm of Michael Fassbender or Mahershala Ali, right, would be standout choices for a potential film. A person of colour playing Lex Luthor, yeah, that would certainly gauge a reaction, wouldn't it? But then Hollywood do like these reactions these days, don't they? As for its cinematic influences, perhaps Phillips could draw from Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street or David Fincher's The Social Network, a film that may have inspired Eisenberg's casting as Luthor in Batman v Superman. The modern billionaire comes in shades of Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk, more than the classic comic book Luthor, so that could be a signpost for a movie. While Joker prided itself on not following any singular comic book storyline, it did include visual references and thematic nods exactly to stories like The Killing Joke and The Dark Knight Returns. For Lex Luthor, there are plenty of stories and visual cues to mind the primary one. Could be 2015's Lex Luthor Man of Steel by author Brian Azzarello and artist Lee Bermejo. I can't pronounce that name. The story is a deep dive into Luthor's psychology, providing a definitive why to his character. In the story, Superman is used as a mythological boogeyman, primarily appearing behind long glass mirrors or manifesting in Lex Luthor's mind as he obsesses over the Kryptonian hero. Having Superman appear in a Lex Luthor film through shadows, silhouettes, or conceptual images would be a way to use the character. It would be awesome, wouldn't it? As a phantom antagonist to Lex, his primary motivator, the key to Lex Luthor, is that he never sees himself as the villain. Rather, he sees himself as the savior of humanity. To him, Superman is everything humanity isn't. Superman is overly powerful, overbearing, a mockery to Lex Luthor's own hard-fought journey to the top. While most superhero picks are made with escapism as the primary audience, Gold, Joker, and other darker films in the medium aim to point a mirror at our world rather than take us away from it. It was debatable whether audiences were ready for such an exploration using comic book characters, but Joker proved it could work. Where Joker took stabs at wealthy inequality and mental health services, a Lex Luthor film could get even more political and even tackle themes of religion, humanity's place in the universe to make it the opposite side of the DC villain coin. A very, very, very good what-if type of article from The Hollywood Reporter. Look, we all want a Lex Luthor movie to be the next one that they do. And as I've clarified, please don't go off and keep on saying it's not happening. Joker is back. More characters are coming. End of the story. I'm telling you that. I'm not a journalist. I don't have an ear into Warner Brothers. I trust Hollywood Reporter. They've said it. It's good enough for me. But I think how they describe a Lex Luthor origin story would be the way that Todd Phillips would go with it. It would be amazing. It would be awesome. It would be interesting. I don't know if I like their ideas of casting, although Ali is a very good actor and he would do a very good job as Lex Luthor. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not opposed to a person of colour playing Lex Luthor. What I was saying is that the mass audience are just going to freak out. I don't know if that's going to help the movie or not help the movie. Who knows? But Ali is a great actor. Let me just get that straight. So I would be so down for that. And I think Lex Luthor, like the Joker, is one of the most famous villains in fiction. And this is why one of the reasons Joker did well. It's a great movie, but calling a film The Joker is going to help make it a lot of money. And this is why I always believed that Joker would make a lot of money, even if it was a bad movie. But it was a great movie. So the great movie element and calling it The Joker were the reasons this film got to $1 billion. This was always going to happen. And Lex Luthor is just as famous, just as popular. They could do a really, really great version. Personally, if you're going to do this, I'd love to see Michael Rosenbaum back, but that's not going to happen because he's not the darling of Warner Brothers. He's not the darling of Hollywood. He's a guy who does his own thing and doesn't care about the entertainment industry, and that's one of the reasons I respect Michael as well, playing Lex Luthor so beautifully. It really leaped off the screen and he was wonderful. But once this is announced, and I am convinced Lex Luthor is the character that Todd Phillips and his creatives will tackle. So once all this is announced for real, we can really dig our teeth into it. But I want to know what you think. Please comment down below. Let me know what you think about Access Media getting their wicks out to see who's got the biggest one. 1 minute it's happening, then it's not happening. I've clarified all that, but I want to know your take on it. And what do you think about a Lex Luthor origin story? Would that excite you? Is it? I'm not sure. For me, it would be epic. And of course, as soon as we know any more on a Joker movie sequel or a Lex Luthor origin movie, this is the first place you're going to find out all about it.